My hobby is drawing. I love to draw. When I was a kid, I loved playing with color pencils and oil pastels. Now I am a high school student and I am still trying to draw better. I hope that I will be an artist in the future. My parents are really supportive and they always inspire me to draw. My father buys me drawing pencils and paper. In my free time, I don't watch TV, I draw. I think that helps me to become creative. Drawing is my passion. The most beautiful scene for me is the sunset on the beach. Everyone has a hobby and so do I. My hobby is cooking. I love to cook. At first, I used to help my mom in her cooking. But later I found that I really enjoy cooking. I asked my mom to teach me that, and she was really happy about this. Then she teaches me and I learned pretty much everything about cooking. I don't get enough time to cook but I try my best. Everyone says that my cooked food is really delicious and I think so also. I wish to become a popular cooking teacher in the future. People should learn so many cooking techniques that I know now. I watch YouTube videos regularly which helps me to gain so much knowledge on different types of cooking. Once I cooked for my cousin who came from America and he was amazed after eating that food. That day was really inspiring for me. Everybody praised my dish and then I never looked back and never give up. My hobby is book reading. I started reading a book from the first grade when my father took me into a book fair and I bought a few cartoon books. I never looked back then. That's the only thing that makes me happy. I can forget everything in this world when I am with a good book. I used to read stories and fiction in my primary school days. But now I am pretty much grown up and I love reading books related to science and history. Bangladesh has an amazing history regarding the 1971 Liberation War. I have read more than 10 books on that particular topic. I don't read only Bengali books. There are so many English books that I have read. My favorite book is Science Fiction by Muhammad Jafar Iqbal. I think he is the best writer in this country for the kids. Humayun Ahmed also has few awesome books but most of his books are for grown peoples. I want to continue my hobby. I think book reading is the best hobby ever. Book seems like a friend. It will never feel you alone. I can spend my leisure time without wasting it. People can gain so much knowledge by reading good books. Everyone should read books. People have several types of hobbies and I have a pretty much different hobby in me. My hobby is gardening. A few years ago, I visited Delhi in a cousin's house and found he has made his own garden in the roof. I thought that was a good idea. I used to love spending time in her garden. There were several types of flowers and a few vegetables too. I am living in a small city and we have enough land in front of our house where I can do a garden easily. When I came back to Bangladesh from Delhi, I started working on my own garden. My parents were really supportive. I learned so many things from my cousin. She knows pretty much everything about gardening. When I face any problem, I call her and she makes a solution or provides me a video link where I can find the solution. Right now in my garden, there are 20 types of flowers and other trees. I was to increase my garden day by day because we have enough land here. Gardening is not hard at all. People think that you have to work hard in the sun. Not at all, you can do all of your work in the afternoon. I do that. But taking care of your garden is really important, otherwise, it won't work. I have witnessed so many failures in my garden at the beginning. But now I am doing well. If we all do gardening, that can help us to save from environment pollution and greenhouse effect. Everyone should do gardening and make this world green. A hobby is something that people love to do when he is free and it makes them relaxed and entertained. In this boring working world, everyone should have a hobby that makes him happy. Actually, hobby comes in mind automatically. Several people have several types of hobbies. The most common hobbies are gardening, stamp collecting, reading books, drawing, watching TV, etc., but my hobby is pretty much different than others. I love playing video games. And I think that is my hobby. When I was in class 6, my father bought me a computer and that was my starting in video games. My favorite game genre is car racing, puzzle, and chess. I think playing chess with a computer makes me really calm and everyone should play this game. I avoid shooting games, these are really addictive and shooting games are not good for health. I play games in my leisure time, I don't waste time playing games. My aim in life is to become a computer engineer and then build my own games. I am working on this daily. I am learning computer in depth. My passion is to work with the computer always. The video game has a good side and bad side both. Playing too many video games can ruin your attention power, you won't be able to attentive in your study. That's why I say everyone to play in a limit. Personally, I maintain a routine and never play out of routine. I usually buy new games every month. My elder brother brings a game CD for me. I love video game and this is my favorite hobby. Among other hobbies, I think this is the best one for me. I love to paint. It is my hobby. I paint with watercolors. I like to paint beautiful landscapes. When we go on holidays to different places like hill stations, desert areas, river banks, or the countryside, I always take my art material with me. I like to sit and paint a scenery as I watch it. The painting then is very vivid and comes alive. I find my hobby refreshing to me. I keep all my paintings carefully. I have participated in different art exhibitions and painting competitions at school and at state-level events, and won prizes too. I love to read. Reading is my hobby. I read books belonging to all genres. But it is adventure and mystery stories that keep me the most engaged. I enjoy reading Sherlock Holmes stories by Arthur Conan Doyle. They are fascinating stories that keep me very captivated. I can read them over and over again and I enjoy them. I also love to read the Harry Potter series of books by J.K. Rowling. She has woven so much magic through her stories. I also liked reading books by Enid Blyton. I am now starting to read Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. It will be very fascinating to read the high fantasy book. I always write a review to a book once I finish reading it. It is an interesting exercise to do. It helps me to briefly write about what I liked and enjoyed or disliked about the book. I find embroidery making very interesting. It is my hobby. I spend some time on it every day. It is very refreshing and relaxing for me to engage in my hobby. I play with designs and colors. I can use different types of cloth to make embroidery on. I can choose many different colors of thread to make embroidery with. The patterns I choose are also varied. I have made embroidered apparel and have always been excited to make a new item. Embroidery making is, however, time-consuming. I have made many interesting items of embroidery. I have made a chocolate cake embroidery on a tablecloth. It looks like a real birthday cake. I also embroidered sparrows on a stole. I love the sparrow but do not see it nowadays on my veranda. My friends like my stole because they too miss the sparrow. I am very fond of making embroidery on my mother's saris. My mother buys saris on which I embroider small flowers, leaves and butterflies. My mother loves to drape these saris. Embroidery can make designs alive in a very beautiful and colorful way. A plain apparel can become a fashion garment if it is embroidered tastefully. I enjoy going to the forests. It is my hobby that I find very exciting. Traveling in forests leaves me refreshed and energized. I find myself close to nature in forest areas. I always like to be part of a nature group to go to a forest. I learn about the trees and animals from nature experts in such groups. I enjoy walking through the trees and grasses and foliage. Walking through an untidy forest or grassland on the rough paths in it is like an adventure story unraveling before me. The air in forests is very fresh. It is not like cities where there is so much vehicular pollution that affects our health adversely. I began going to the woods with my father as a child along with my sister and uncles and cousins. My interest in going to the jungles has grown over the years. I find going to such places very rewarding. I can see different kinds of trees, plants, flowers, and fruits.
I can watch many different birds and hear their sweet songs and unique calls. I can see many beautiful and colorful butterflies. I also learn about many interesting natural phenomena of the jungle. I can watch the kingfisher catching a fish and eating it. I can watch a weaver bird get into its nest or a munia build its nest. I can watch from close quarters the wild creatures that I can never see in a town or city where there is human habitation.
I like making paintings with watercolors as also oil colors. Paintings made with oil colors take time to make and get ready as the oils are slow in drying up. There is, however, a certain richness of color in an oil painting. Watercolors are quick to dry. I find the effect of watercolors very soothing. Abstracts are my favorite themes for painting. But there is meaning in the abstracts I make. They are not just a splash of color. The abstracts I make are meaningful. I love to share the representations of my abstracts with those who ask to know it. When the meanings of abstracts are seen, the paintings can be appreciated. Often the meanings of abstracts are not easy to decipher. But the coming together of color and form in a painting is in itself beautiful. I also like making portraits. I like to sit before a person and make their portrait. But this may not be possible always. I sketch portraits in black pen or in pencil. Portraits are interesting to make.